Next, I want to talk about DrumLab a little bit. This is a really cool instrument that I honestly didn't pay a lot of attention to because I was doing a similar method of drum layering inside of Machine already that I didn't think I would even need this. And yet, as I started using it more recently, I really like the workflow. So basically what it is you have a drum kit. This is again a contact instrument. And you have a drum kit that is already layered out just like you would expect. And the real significant value with it is that it blends between acoustic and electronic elements. So for instance, this kick can blend from electronic layers to acoustic layers and everything in between. And then each drum has different effects you can add to it and really kind of work it and affect the entire drum group all together. So essentially, it's just a very simple, easy to use drum instrument. Now, the reason I was saying I don't really use it before is because if I wanted to layer an acoustic and an electric, I might put them on two different pads and use pad link to hit one and trigger both at the same time. Or I could easily just come in and stack multiple samples on one pad, so whenever I hit it, it's going to trigger maybe 3 or 4 different samples to get the kick I want. Now, the real benefit here, though, is that it's all done for you and it's very easy to use right away. What I really want to show you, because it's straightforward, you know, just start getting in here and seeing what it does. There's several kits you can use, and then a bunch of different presets inside of each kit. But what I really want to show you is how I've set this up inside of Machine. What's going on down here is that I'm actually triggering the one instance of DrumLab sitting here on Sound 16, but it's being triggered from different Machine pads, so I can play it more like a traditional Machine group. Now, you know, if you load up one version of Contact, you can play this from your keyboard in a general MIDI format. So your C2 would be your kick. So I don't want to play it from the keyboard. I want to play it from the drum pads. The problem is, if you go into keyboard mode inside of DrumLab, my hi-hat's not where I want it. The kick might be, the snare might be, but like everything is kind of laid out very weird. So what I can do is trick the Machine pads to trigger exactly what I want. And this is very simple to do. I'm going to show you by setting up a new one. If I come to a blank pad and I come to Channel, go to the Sound Output and page over all the way to MIDI. Now you have a destination you can choose. By default it will be none, but look what's over here. Inside of this group, you will see Sound 16 is an instance of Contact. So I can select it. Let's put it on channel 1. Oops. And now you have transpose. So by default, 0 is C3. So if I want to go down and change whatever key is going to trigger that sound, I can just adjust whatever one I want. As you do this, change each one to its specific transpose note. -22, -18, -14, etc. So basically, I'm using an empty sound with no plugins or anything on top of it. And all I'm telling is output MIDI to trigger this at a specific key, just like it's a keyboard. That way now I can arrange the pads in a more realistic way when you're working with a drum pad. Very slick. And the real benefit here is that now when I sequence it, it sequences just like a Machine drum kit would inside of the pattern editor. I'm not triggering everything from inside one instance and having to look at a piano roll of the different hits, you know? So it's much easier to work with, and it's just a quick little thing. You can set it up once and then obviously right click right here inside of your group and save. So you can save your own custom drum lab kit to pull up every single time. Very slick. Don't forget too, if you don't want the GUI to disappear, you got to pin it. Otherwise, when I trigger the next sound, you might not see it. So make sure you want to pin that. And there you go. Really cool, fun little hack that will get you a lot more mileage out of this instrument.